Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Focus with Fido, and today we're going to be doing a reaction video to what Mr. Gabriel Christian did. It says a call for resignation for Mr. Skerrit in light of the new visa travel ban that Dominica has been placed on, and all the chaotic narrative that's ongoing. We're going to have a look at what he has to say, and you can also leave your thoughts and your comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for joining this video, and also don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're getting into it right now.
Focus with Fido, truth bomb blast 2K. No IT, nah sell no mass. Clear like glass, we nah move fast. If it no make sense, we let it pass. Focus with Fido, facts only. Real life talk, no fake story. Open your eyes, wake up slowly.
All right, guys, so we have the video right there for all you guys to see. We're going to get into this video reaction, see what we can, see what it's all about, see what it's all about.
I call this the reckoning, and I call this a statement by the remnant. The remnant meaning those of us who were born before Dominica's independence in 1978 when this flag was designed by our dear teacher, our English teacher at the Dominica Grammar School, the late great Alvin Bully, with the Amazona imperialists and reference to our Kalinago people or African people or green and thickly wooded nature island of the Caribbean. It's a sad day for me because last week, on the 16th of December, US President Donald Trump imposed travel restrictions. And in recent days, I've heard that has been resolved, that's been reversed. I do not know that to be true, because the Prime Minister of Dominica is someone who's told a great deal of untruths over the years. And I want it to be known that the Prime Minister of Dominica is not a stranger to me. He's not a stranger to this office. In fact, almost 20 years ago, he came to our office, and that's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. That's his minister over here, Colin McIntyre. That's the Director of Economic Development for the state of Virginia, Allegra McCullough. Prime Minister Skerrit, Pastor Sinclair Mitchell, Reginald Vigilant, a Dominican grammar school, Dominica Grammar School graduate in IT, Omni Systems, Attorney Kwasi Clark, and Attorney Ed Layden, who's now a senior prosecutor in our county. It's a Prime Minister Skerrit here at our office with one of our employees back in the day. That's the Prime Minister in 2004, the year he took office, at the center, at lunch at the Orchard Restaurant in Roseau with the late, great Dr. Clayton Shillingford, an eminent botanist who was the president of the Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences. Over here, Dr. Thompson Fontaine, then the treasurer of the Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences. Next to him, Athenia Henry.
That is interesting. That is very interesting. That's very, very, very interesting. That's very interesting. I'm gonna bring back a little bit, guys, for you to hear that, for you to hear this, and so you can understand.
Shillingford, an eminent botanist, who was the president of the Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences. Over here, Dr. Thompson Fontaine.
Dr. Thompson Fontaine. That is good to see. That is very good to see. That's very good to see.
Then the treasurer of the Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences. Next to him, Athenia Henry, the president of the Rusi Douglas Foundation, and Julia Sampson, formerly the editor of the Dominica Chronicle and executive member of the Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences. Why do I show these bits of information, this evidence, what I call corroborating evidence? It speaks to how close we were to the government of Dominica, which had no website. We provided the web services, the Dominica Academy, that is, so that if Sean Douglas or even Tony Astafan, who was a government lawyer, wanted something out, they would come to the Academy. And what the Academy of Arts and Sciences was designed to do was to not sell passports, but was to bring Dominicans together, artists and scientists like the late, great Rasmo Moses, people like Pat Aaron, the Calypso songwriter, people like Dr. Shillingford, Clayton, Dave Shillingford, Sam Christian, Dr. Irvin Andre, and many, many others, Dr. Bevin Etienne, bringing our competence together, because the work of development to build a country requires sober effort. It requires studied effort. It requires pulling your human resource, wherever it may be. That's what serious nations do. They create academies of arts and sciences and placing those human resources at the disposal of the public and private sector in the respective country. The Israelis did it, the Indians did it, the Irish have done it, the Chinese have done it, the Koreans have done it, right? Bringing your people together in ways that are meaningful. And so the work of development is hard work for small former colonial entities like Dominica. It is not about having a Creole festival and giving free tickets to supporters and friends and having a good time for 3 days and 3 nights with nothing at the end to show for it other than a hangover or smoking dope or abusing alcohol or putting on a red hat and a red shirt and blowing a red horn and playing the fool. We believe that the role of the diaspora was developmental. It was not about coming to Dominica in violation of law, being paid and being brought into Dominica by plane load to vote in an election and to leave the misery and suffering on the Dominican people and then to back out that same afternoon by plane load back to the Virgin Islands or the United States.
I have to let you guys know that my thoughts and comments on that in regards to persons in the diaspora coming to vote in our government and then leaving the very next day. I believe the clues, the context, I believe the clause of that should change essentially because I just believe that it undermines the whole integrity of voting a government in for the better when you're not even going to experience what you voted for or what you voted on behalf of the Dominican public.
States or wherever it is they came from. We thought that was lawless. And so about 18 years ago, we broke from the government because we saw the things that were happening that were wrong. And so on the 16th December, because of Dominica's government, despite many warnings, selling passports, many of them to crooks and criminals, people who nefarious in their activities, the United States government decided to impose visa restrictions. We're asking, and we've asked before, and the people who say, why do you ask again for the government to resign? Well, we do it for purposes of history. We do it to encourage the many Dominicans. The overwhelming majority of Dominicans inside Dominica and outside Dominica have been remarkably negligent. They have not even ever risen up in one voice and asked for the resignation of the Prime Minister and his government. Many of them, or most of them, have gone along to get along because they've been bribed or they're victimized or they're afraid. So there's been a few valiant voices, what I call the remnant, those who remember a better Dominica, those who have been able to allow their integrity, both on the island, like people like Lennox Linton and Arthur Martin and the Wednesday Walkers and many others who've been falsely accused of crime, bogus charges. Edison James, bogus charges. Lennox Linton, bogus charges. Thompson Fontaine, bogus charges. And my brother, Dr. Sam Christian, bogus charges. Accused him of trying to inciting to burn Parliament. That abuse, I know, has frightened many Dominicans. So many Dominicans and others, even those overseas who are not under the thumb of the Skerrit.
Interestingly to say that is lawfare, and I think I did a video on that earlier on in the year. So yeah, that's lawfare. You just use the law to spread your agenda as a political power figure. You just use the law and your connections to further, misdirect or distract the opposition leaders. That is lawfare, and that is not. It is a method that they use, but it's not. It's not good. It's not nice.
The regime have not spoken out, and we want to say to our other Caribbean people, including those in CARICOM, who have let down Dominica, because for many years the Caribbean leaders knew or should have known that Roosevelt Skerrit had placed passports in the hands of crooks and criminals, and those passports bore the seal of CARICOM, and yet they did nothing. And so, my friends, now we are facing a reputational crisis. We are facing a crisis where our financial laws are being broken routinely. Our procurement laws are being broken routinely, as in the $1 billion airport where there's no tender. Under the colonial system, we had public tender. Under the colonial system, government funds went to the government account. Now they're in offshore banks. That's what we're facing in Dominica, a total breakdown of law and order and lawful governance. And now even our environmental laws, as with the Dave Wash crisis, where the forest has been denuded and There's mining supposedly for rocks to build the airport. Totally done in a lawless way without any environmental analysis or environmental impact statement to show that it's been done in accordance with our laws and our planning. And so, Mr. Usman, I know you may have a few questions of me about the whole development process where we created this academy and the diaspora movement, not to steal elections, but to bring qualified Dominicans back home to help build the country. And we were called because we criticized government conduct or misconduct, CIA agents, enemies of the state, enemies of Dominica, none of which is true.
Well, you mentioned diaspora. Could you explain the meaning of the word diaspora?
Essentially,
I didn't realize that was a interview vibes kind of video. Anyways, let's get it. I'm learning quite a lot though.
people who are not from their native country, like the Jews who were exiled after Rome took over what is now Israel, the Chinese who had to flee China because of colonial degradation, the Irish who had to flee Ireland because of British oppression and because of the potato famine, the Koreans who left Korea to study abroad and built lives for themselves, coming back to their respective countries, the Indians, for instance. And in each of those instances, the Koreans, the Indians, the Chinese, the Jews, they were able to return to their particular countries of origin, if not, to reside permanently, but to bring their intellectual heft and their financial resources and their relationship capital to help lift the fortunes of their people. And that's where that came from. We were able to go to study and observe other civilizations, and we sought to take the best of what we learned and apply those best practices to the uplift of our country that we dearly love.
And if you could summarize for everyone watching, what is the purpose behind the Dominica Academy of the Arts?
Yeah, on August 1st, 2000, when Rosie Douglas was still Prime Minister, we decided to form, that is Raglan Rivera, who is now gone. He was a former Royal Air Force officer and hospital administrator on Dominica, the Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences. He had a website called Sir Raglan Presents. And whenever a Dominican student in North America did well at college or somebody did something good, he would put it on his little website. In those days, internet was just coming up. It was very, very new. And I contacted him and I said, listen, why don't we create a database of Dominicans? We have their names, we have their occupations, we have their education, we have their email. Email was just coming in, we have their phone numbers. And that could be sort of a database for the Dominican government or private sector, not to have to rely on expatriate advice, because people who come in and have paid a fee are never going to love Dominica more than us. Let the native-born Dominicans, even if they are not in Dominica, be the ones to help build the country. And we didn't have a repository of that talent in any one place, and we created the first Academy of Arts and Sciences in human history online. And that is just a fact. Most academies of arts and sciences are brick and mortar on the ground, but ours was solely online because we didn't have the money to have an actual place, and all law firm here in Maryland registered it at that time. And we're still online. We now work with Rebuild Dominica primarily as the umbrella action arm, and hopefully one day younger Dominicans will take up the mantle, because we're talking now 25 years, and a lot of us now are just a remnant, and we're hoping that young Dominicans can take their rightful place and do duty and be civic-minded and take the leadership role.
And since we are running out of time, if you could close out with how we began, talk about the rule of law. What does that mean? How about selling your birthright through a system such as citizenship by investment?
Dr. Irving Schillingford and I in 1992 opposed the whole program that Dame Eugenia Charles started with. At that time, Hong Kong was being returned to Chinese control, and the wealthy Hong Kong Chinese who didn't want to be under the thumb of the Chinese Communist Party, they wanted to leave. She thought it'd be a good idea to offer them Dominican citizenship, and they would invest in Dominica. That didn't really work out. In fact, it was a failure. What we have with that is a rusting or decrepit chunk of concrete in the Layu Valley, in the so-called Shangri-La Hotel. It was an abysmal failure. And we never believed in it, because we believe that the whole idea of citizenship being sold is a bad idea. What the United States has done, and some countries, the United States has something called the EB-5. And I've tried to, suggest something like that to the Dominican government. That is, you invite people to your country, as residents to build a factory, to operate a farm, to build a hotel, some institute of higher physics or chemistry, if they have that competence, IT. During that time, the person has to, I believe, invest like $1 million, employ at least 10 people, and if after 5 years or the prescribed period it is shown to work well, they're then eligible for citizenship. It's not guaranteed. You still have to take the U.S. Constitution exam and U.S. history exam, and if you pass that exam, then you were sworn in. But before that, they have to check your criminal background. Do you have a criminal record? So even if you'd done the investment, even if you'd passed the exam, if you could not pass the required criminal background check, you would not get citizenship. That's not what's happening in Dominica. So the United States, by the way, does not have agents in Pakistan, in Dubai, or Russia selling passports. They have the U.S. government, Department of Homeland Security. Before that used to be INS, Immigration Naturalization Services. They will take applications. U.S. government civil servants are in charge. Under the scrutiny of the U.S. Congress, right? Everything recorded. And the money is going into the U.S. Treasury, not in offshore banks in Dubai, in Panama, or in Switzerland, right? So we had suggested something similar, because then the stress would be on investment, not simply having citizenship immediately. The government did not accept that proposal when I made it some time ago. In fact, they even deceitfully claimed that I sought to sell passports, which is a bloody lie, something we've never believed in. But that's how it came up. It came up with the Dominica Freedom Party under Eugenia Charles. The United Workers' Party continued it. In fact, Dominica got sanctioned during the time of the United Workers' Party by Canada, when 66 Chinese showed up in Canada, all with the address of one minister, I think, who's passed away now, Julius Timothy. And Irving Andre, I think, was involved in that case. And then when Rosie Douglas came in, he stopped it. I went to his office, and there were passports from Moscow, Russians, on his desk, from the former Prime Minister, Edison James. But he died after 8 months. And Roosevelt Skerrit got into it to a degree that no one else has. And today we do not even know how many Dominican passports have been sold. We only have about 80,000, if that many people on Dominica. It's quite possible that they've sold in excess of 50,000 passports. So if you have 300 million Americans, can you imagine if the United States sold 200 million passports? Do you still have a country? I mean, that's just terrible. And there's not much to show for it. Of course, you know, he's built some homes, but in those homes, people have no title to those homes. You know, they are in a sort of in-between place of being renters or, you know, just beneficiaries of a favor from the ruling party. So we believe that this matter of passport peddling must be eradicated. It's a cancer, and we need to do the serious science of agriculture, of industry, of technology, of artificial intelligence. We have so many brilliant Dominicans at home and abroad. Let's bring them together and do the real work of development, because peddling passports has proven to be what we always said it would be, a dead end, and a really construct that favors a den of thieves.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. As we wrap up, do you have any closing remarks for the people of Dominica?
Well, we will never make any progress if we're not law-abiding. We'll never make any progress where we don't trust our own people, our brothers and sisters at home and abroad, to work together. We'll never be people of substance where we allow lies and bribes and breach of law to color our lives. We'll never make any progress where we abuse alcohol or we have young people smoking dope all over the place. We have to be disciplined, as we tried to do with the cadet program, which our law firm right here, we invested a lot of time and money so we could get our young people, along with people like Major Richards and Inspector Andrew and others, to rebuild the Dominica Cadet Corps. Because I was a cadet, and many of us, like Rosie Douglas, who gave the go-ahead for the initiative in 2000, March, we believe that you need discipline, you need intelligent effort, and you need hard work. There's no free lunch, you know. I tell people all the time, we do criminal practice, and we notice that in the communities where people sell drugs, those communities are always suffering with crime, decrepit, filthy, not really desirable. Because the people who make their money the easy way of selling drugs, they really don't care about the community. They really don't care. So if you really want a prosperous community, you've got to get rid of drugs. You've got to get into a mindset of eradicating this party atmosphere, right? Of all these parties, all these festivals about nothing. Let's have an agricultural and industrial fair. And we can have some music, because Dominicans are very good musicians. And we can have a music industry. And we can have an industry for the dramatic arts. And we can have an industry that deals with our heritage. We have a wonderful Afro-European Kalinago heritage. We are unique in that we have the only Kalinago territory in the world. We have a very unique flora and fauna. But what's happening now? Even our very rivers and our forests that really give Dominica its allure, give Dominica its brand of Nature Island, even that has been destroyed by lawlessness and lack of enforcement and environmental laws and lack of planning and the idolatry that surrounds one man, Roosevelt Skerrit. So Dominica now is run by even Tony Asafa, Richards and Inspector Andrew and others to rebuild the Dominica Cadet Corps, because I was a cadet and was never arrested.
All right, guys, I just wanted to point out, I just clicked on the wrong thing. I wanted to point out that the environmental issues that he's talking about, I did do a petition. I did do a petition where Wesley is concerned because of an asphalt plant they're looking to install in Wesley for the proposed international airport. I did a petition where you can sign so that we could require the persons in charge of this airport and also the airport, the asphalt plant, to do the necessary due diligence, do the environmental and social impact assessment properly and present it to the public properly, and to hold a consultation that is inclusive and respectful to the people of Wesley and Dominica by extension. So if you guys don't mind, you can also click on the link you'll see in the description or somewhere in the video. You click on the link to the petition. You can also sign and stand with the people of Wesley in this movement. Thank you so much. Let's get back to this reaction.
Canadian and his companion, that is Daniel Langlois, and his companion Dominic Machar, they're now dead. He was the animator for Titanic. He was the animator for The Matrix. He was the animator for Jurassic Park, and he'd been in Dominica for more than a decade. Can you imagine, if we were serious people, what we could have done in partnership with someone like that? We could maybe be the animation nation or the animation island of the world. No,
that is
this
it.
gentleman
That
is
is
gone.
That is so true, you know. We could have tapped into that animation and cinematography sector so good, but we lost that opportunity. And now wood persons, and that's the next thing, if that kind of occurrence happening in the country and in the nation, would other persons of that caliber come to invest in Dominica? Look at the Coulibaly Ridge resort, one of the best in the Caribbean in terms of modern technology. That is through him.
And we hope that justice is done for him. But that is the kind of thing that we want to see. We want to see a return to law and order, an eradication of this passport peddling scheme. But to do that, we need for Roosevelt Skerrit to resign. He needs to resign because Dominica's reputation has been shot to shreds. People have been calling our office because for 44 years coming next year, we've been promoting Dominica. That's why I always have my Dominica flag. But how do I feel now? That people call me now from all parts of the United States who've known me for almost 44 years. And they say, Christian, we've seen your country on the news. It's been subject to penalties because of its behavior. It's a shame for me and for all of us who love our country of birth. And we don't want to be a part of any program that undermines the security of the Caribbean, the United States, or any of our traditional allies. And that's why Skerrit and his government, we've said to you before, you've not done it, look at where you've left us now. Like the skunk at the party, disgrace before the entire world. Resign, give way for government of national unity with technocrats at the lead. And so you can see then an end of this program, rebuilding of our agriculture and industry, and preparation for new elections that will be free and fair and not tainted by the billions of dollars in passport money that have been converted to the use of one man and his cronies. Resign, sir. Your time has come. I know you'll have a lot of excuses and explaining, because if there's anything you can do, you can spin a story quite well. But I believe the game is up. God bless you, Dominica. And to all our friends in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and other places like France, where Dominicans reside, I want all of you to know that what has been done in our name has not been done with the connivance and support of the intelligent and honest Dominicans. It's been done with the support of people who are lawless and do not represent our best interests. And I hope that you'll allow for those good Dominicans who have not been party to this catastrophe to freely travel the world and not be lumped in with those whom they're not part of. We're not part of any cabal of terrorist plotting folks or folks who are money launderers or international criminals. Dominicans are good, kind, and gracious people. Although in recent years, we've seen a breakdown of law and order and gangsterism at the highest level and gangster activity in the streets and drug dealing that we need to root out. And we hope that you will be our partners in that effort so we can rebuild a peaceful, productive, and well-respected nation among the family of nations. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, this is the end of the video. It was a lot. It was very informative. I think it was very well put together. As for me, I really would like to see somebody else take the forte, take the leadership of Dominica, take the Prime Minister position. I would really like for Prime Minister Skerrit to resign, because I believe no man should be in power for that time for 25, 20 years. I think there should be two consecutive terms to serve, and then the change in leadership must happen. Is mandatory. If we don't put something in the laws or something in the constitution to where we can monitor, where we can safeguard the integrity of our country, then we could be at the mercy of another person who goes on to be in leadership for so many years that they get themselves mixed up with the wrong people for too long, where the country can suffer. But I do agree with majority of everything you said. I agree with that. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so you can be notified every time we post or upload. Focus with Fido is going out. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Focus with Fido, truth bomb blast 2K. No IT, nah sell no mass. Clear like glass, we nah move fast. If it no make sense, we let it pass. Focus with Fido, facts only. Real life talk, no fake story. Open your eyes, wake up slowly.